for this morning's Lent calendar here on the third Sunday of Lent. I was inspired during the week by Kirsten's reflection on the windows by Marc Chagall in that beautiful church on the banks of the river in Zurich. And it reminded me a couple of years ago now when I was last in the Holy Land in Jerusalem. I went out to visit a place I'd never been to, despite the fact I've been to the Holy Land a few times now. And it was to a little, what was a little village called Ein Karem. And it sits just outside Jerusalem. And Ein Karem is Hebrew for the spring of the vineyard. And today, if you go there, you will find the Hadassah Medical Cantre. It's one of Israel's most famous hospitals. And just like you might find a chapel in a hospital here in the UK, or a place of quiet and reflection, so too, if you go to the hospital, you will find a synagogue. And it is perhaps one of the most stunning spiritual places I know, because there are 12 windows by Marc Chagall, and they tell of the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 sons of Jacob. And they are absolutely stunning in their color. There's an interesting story that during, I think it was the 6-day war, 2 of the windows were shot and nearly destroyed. And the founders of the hospital, didn't quite know how to break the news to Marc Chagall that your windows are being broken, but they wanted to tell him. They didn't want him to find out from anyone else. So they phoned him up and said, and the first thing he said is, I know what you're going to say. Don't you worry about the windows. You continue to look after the sick and the ill and the wounded. I will look after the windows for you. And he did. He came back and he repaired the windows, but he left in them a little bullet hole just to remind them that these windows were now part of the history of modern day Israel. But the lovely thing about this hospital is it treats and cares for everybody. And I just think of anxious relatives going in to visit loved ones in the hospital, and how good it is to know that they have this beautiful sacred synagogue decorated with these stunning windows where they can find just a little bit of peace and be closer to God.